Last time on Fallen Marvel Reviews, our friends continue to navigate the cinematic maze that is Batman v Superman. Will they be able to find the elusive exit? Or will they find themselves lost in translation deciphering this movie? Find out today on an exciting episode of Fallen Marvel Reviews.
So the next sequence, they show the whole dinner party thing where Bruce and Clark meet for the first time and they have their little exchange. So this whole thing is Batman was invited, Bruce was invited by Lex to this dinner party, and somewhere up to that point, Bruce finds out that LexCorp possibly has in their possession some kryptonite, because apparently he's still paranoid about what Superman can do, so he wants to steal the kryptonite and weaponize it for himself. So while Bruce is there, he's talking to Alfred, and they're trying to plant some kind of hack device on LexCorp's main server, while Lex is giving this really awkward ass speech to where he's kind of, I don't know if he was drinking or not, but apparently he's just up there just babbling on about nothing and acting all awkward, and for some reason he had like this fixation on the word paradoxical for some reason, just random, paradoxical. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, Marv kind of did that perfectly. That's just kind of what he did in the movie. So anyway, Bruce plants the thing, he goes back upstairs, and somewhere during the speech, you see Wonder Woman there in a nightgown, and I'm thinking like, why is she here? So anyway, Bruce is kind of roaming around waiting for the thing to finish, and he's still talking to Alfred on the intercom, and Clark overhears it. And it's pretty much at that point, Superman finds out Bruce is Batman. So and that's when that whole exchange between them happens. So then the thing finishes, and Bruce goes back downstairs to retrieve his hacking device, and he realizes it's gone. So he's looking around, and then he looks out the door or whatever, and then you see Wonder Woman walking away, and I'm like, wait, and then he's trying to go after her, like, you know, without drawing attention to himself, and then they just show, like, Wonder Woman outside, and she gets in this fly-ass car, then drives off. Again, I'm scratching my head. I'm like, what the hell does Wonder Woman want with it? What the hell is going on? It's not before Clark tries to follow Bruce down the stairs to get the device, but he sees a broadcast on TV and some disaster, so he has to go off to, you know, help them. So then it kind of transitions to this whole montage of Superman trying to do all these wonderful things to help people, to kind of get people on his side and things like that. You know, he's, you know, rescuing a girl out of a burning building in Mexico. You know, he's bringing down a space shuttle that exploded safely, and for some reason he's like in the North Pole or the Antarctica somewhere, pulling a destroyed tanker by the anchor chain, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, is this a Rocky montage or something? Well, I don't know. It was trying to help characterize him as trying to do good in the world, so, I mean, I guess it's relevant. So, you know, he starts consulting with his mom and Lois, you know, trying to figure out what he should do, and, you know, eventually he ends up going, you know, decide to go to the conference, you know, to kind of, you know, I guess address to everybody, you know, what's going on, even though I think he probably should have done it in the first place, but whatever. So that's when we get back to this side character that worked for Wayne Enterprises. So he's pretty much anti-Superman, and then they eventually try to get this guy to go to the hearing to have a face-to-face with Superman. Lex gets involved and, you know, just sort of just putting a nail in the coffins, like, look, you gotta go, essentially. And he shows up with this nice ass wheelchair. It's like, hey, we want you to tell your story, and basically, so that's kind of how that gets set up. So the big Congress meeting happens, Superman arrives, the guy in the wheelchair is there, they're all gonna just, you know, try to get the truth out, you know, just try to know where everybody stands. Concurrently, Batman is at Wayne Enterprises somewhere, excuse me, I can't talk. And Bruce is just watching TV as this whole thing goes on. He recognizes the guy in the wheelchair, and then he starts seeing all these canceled checks that he was supposed to be giving to him, and it has this sent back with all these messages on it say, you were blind, you know, listen to the truth. And then he gets this like newspaper cutout saying, you watched your family, you let your family die. And just like, it's adding up to all of this. And then Superman is at the hearing, And then at the last minute, he kind of sees something wrong because apparently after, some time he noticed apparently Lex had set a bomb in the man's wheelchair. And Superman apparently didn't notice this until the last second, which I feel is a little out of character for Superman. But again, whatever. And the damn thing blows up, killing everybody at the meeting. Everybody's dead. He's there, fire surrounding him, and after the fact, Superman's kind of blamed for it, but then he's kind of not, because they do find, the source of it was a bomb in the wheelchair, but it was like, okay, did Superman let it happen and all this, that, and the other? Then, he kind of gets all melancholy about it, doesn't know what to do, then kind of just goes off to find himself. And he ends up in the mountains and somehow ends up having a heart-to-heart with the ghost of his father in the mountains. And it was a nice scene, but at the same time, it felt random. I mean, I guess it was about as random as Peter Parker talking to his dead Uncle Ben in Spider-Man 2, but who's keeping track? So again, keep in mind, like I said when I started this review, Lex had this planned out perfectly. So they get to a scene, they show Wonder Woman at some kind of art gallery, and I'm thinking like, she sure is getting invited to all these elaborate ass parties, and they're not explaining like how she got this kind of pull. And Bruce Wayne catches up with her and he's like, you shouldn't take things that don't belong to you. And, they start having all this little like witty banter back and forth and all that and the other. And it's kind of funny because I can't help but think like this is a scene out of a James Bond movie with Wonder Woman playing the part of a mysterious Bond girl. Real original. So she tells him that, Lex Corp apparently has some picture that belongs to her. And I guess she assumed it was going to be on the little hard drive, but she couldn't find anything on it. So she apparently put it back in Bruce's car without him noticing. And I'm just thinking, like, world's greatest detective, like, your stock is falling, bruh. So they show Bruce go back home in the Batcave with the device, getting ready to decrypt it, and it's apparent that it's going to take a really long time because they showed it 0% and then it goes to 1, and then he's just like, ugh. And after that, it transitions really quickly to pretty much Bruce dreaming again. Once again, it's like an ongoing theme with Bruce having these very, very elaborate dreams. So, I mean, here we go again. So Bruce, he's in bat costume. He's got like this tactical gear on. He's got a gun on him. He's got a trench coat on him. Like, it looks to be either Metropolis or Gotham. I'm assuming Metropolis. It looks like a wasteland. It's a desert. Looks like hell on earth. And he has a bunch of people rolling with him. And he's in a dream state. Apparently he's dreaming about like all his paranoia about Superman at this point. So his people supposedly have found like a piece of kryptonite for him to use. So he goes in his truck. He opens the box. It's just a light with a green hue in it. His own people turn on him because I guess they had no choice. Then some tactical dudes with the Superman logo on their shoulders with guns pop up. And they start killing his people. And then like Batman just loses his shit and then go out and start kicking people's asses, shooting people, stabbing people. He break one dude's neck. I mean, it's a dope scene. It's awesome. But then it takes a weird turn through all this awesomeness with him taking some of these dudes out. And then parademons start showing up. So if you don't know what the parademons are minions of Darkseid. But apparently in his dream sequence, they're not working for Darkseid. They're working for Superman because they also have like some black gear on with Superman patched on their shoulders. And I'm thinking like, why is Batman dreaming about parademons? Batman ends up getting overwhelmed and gets captured. And the next part they show is him chained up with two of his other people. And that's when they show the scene with Superman coming down and like the soldiers kneeling before him, which is actually pretty cool imagery. But it's like, this is a pretty elaborate dream for Batman, but we'll continue talking about it. So Superman walks up with this really evil and angry look on his face. And he uses his laser eyes and kills the two guys beside Batman. And he pulls Bruce's mask off. And then he just looks at him and said, "You took her from me." And I'm like, ooh, what is going on? And I'm thinking like, you know, Bruce, I mean, like I said, Bruce is having this really elaborate dream. I'm like, what the hell is going on? That's when Superman proceeds to put his hand on Bruce's chest and he goes to impale him, and he does. You don't see it happen, but you know that's pretty much what happened, because Bruce is screaming out in pain, which shocks him awake. What does he wake up to? I'll let Marv tell you. He wakes up to the Flash in front of him in a vortex of light. Literally. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Flash makes his appearance. And I was a bit confused at first because he didn't look like the Flash. He had like what looked like a red helmet on his face. And I'm thinking like, it was like, is that the Red Hood? Is Batman like tripping about like Jason Todd again or something? Because I mean, like that would be cool. But my friend, you know, who I was with, like, told me that it was the Flash because the thing flipped up, and I'm like, hey, it's the okay. I'm like, okay, it's the Flash. All right, I'll accept this. So Flash is warning Bruce, saying that like Lois is the key. You were right about Superman, and it's pretty much occurs to me that he came from the future to warn Bruce about Superman. Like if something goes wrong, Superman is gonna lose his shit. And I'm thinking like, okay. And then Bruce wakes up again. He wakes up again. Bruce wakes up twice. People, I cannot make this up. Bruce had a dream within a dream, getting warned by a future Flash, a man he has never met before in his life. The only conclusion I could come to is one of two things. Either in this universe, Flash has the ability to time travel back into people's dreams with the Speed Force, or Batman is just essentially a precognitive character now. Those are the only two things that make logical sense, because this just felt random as hell. So Bruce wakes up, the files are finished decrypting, he can go through them now. He finds the information on the kryptonite that LexCorp apparently has, and he also finds a metahuman folder in there with 4 folders in it, all of which have very elaborate logos made for them. Keep that in mind. So he opens up the folder with the 2 W's on it, if you don't already know who I'm talking about. There's a picture of Wonder Woman in there with a bunch of other people from the year 1918. And Chris Pine is also in the picture. So we just get that bomb drop. So Wonder Woman is not normal. Bruce is confused. So he's like, what the hell? So he manages to take that folder and email it to Wonder Woman, because apparently he just knows Wonder Woman's email address. So he emails the metahuman file to her, and she looks in her folder and finds her picture. Apparently that's what she was looking for. Wonder Woman starts opening up the other folders, and she opens up the one with the lightning bolt on it. Inside is this random ass convenience store security cam footage. One camera's on the cashier, the other one shows this young kid with long hair looking bummy as hell picking up some milk. And then you see the cashier get held up at gunpoint. All of a sudden he just takes out the guy with the gun, and then zips back. And then him running just makes just causes digital interference in the video footage. Then she opens up the next folder, which has this little cryptic looking letter A on it. And you pretty much know where I'm going with this one. So apparently for this underwater footage, you needed 2 cameras for 2 separate vantage points. One from far away and one that's actually going to explore in the ship. And it was trained on this hole in the ship. And then you just see this figure come out of the hole. And it's Aquaman with the trident, just looking at the camera for like 10 seconds, hair looking all majestic in the water. And he's literally looking at it for like 10 seconds. He's just sitting there, looking like he doesn't know whether to destroy it or just sit there for a photo op. Then he finally destroys the damn camera. And then the other one far away catches Aquaman swimming off at super speed. Oh God, that was great. Then the last folder she opens up has this very bionic looking letter C. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I feel sorry for you. So the video file contains lab footage of Dr. Stone, played by actor Joe Morton, which I am completely for because he's a pretty good actor, and it shows him trying to help Victor, who is laying on a lab table or something with like the upper half of his torso and head and like half an arm, and just shows him trying to find a way to help his son. Like, out of all the footage show, this is probably like the best out of the three because it's a little more clear, but it still feels random as hell. So anyway, they get to like the last part of the footage where you see this morphing cube, which is obviously the mother box, and just sitting there like no explanation at all, looking like the giant cosmic cube. And then eventually it just shows it bonding with Victor, creating Cyborg. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our conveniently orchestrated setup for the Justice League. Now keep this in mind. These were classified LexCorp files, which inevitably means that Lex Luthor knows who the founding members of the Justice League are. And you have to ask the question, when and how did he find out who these people were? And it's a question that doesn't get answered.
It appears our friends Fallen Marvel and Marv are still in the fight to complete this review. Can they go the distance? Or will they go down for the count? Find out on the next exciting conclusion of Fallen Marvel Reviews.